we'd like to share a women's honoring song. This is to honor all the women that are here tonight, all the women that have brought us here tonight, for without women we would not be here. Women are the strength of a community. They draw us all together, and without women, there is no beauty, no nurturing, and no love. Women are the strength of our community. We draw each other together, and here today, we are a community, we are a family. We honor that women's spirit in each and every one of us. And we honor the spirit of our beautiful Mother Earth, our ancestors, and our children yet to be born. This is the Women's Honor Song, Anagaya.
This song was originally done by Joan Henry, who's a Arapaho Cherokee. We honor from where this song comes. This is the Women's Honor Song, Anagaya. Anagaya, wehawiya, wehana we, wehawiya, wehawiya, weya, Anagaya, wehawiya, wehana we, wehawiya, wehawiya, weya, See them dance in grace and beauty. Mothers, sisters, aunties, grandmothers, daughters, women of all nations women, you are the strength. You are the force. You are the healing of all nations. That is the prayer. Hi, hi.
The last song we'd like to share with you, because we always share in fours, to honor the four directions, to honor the four elements that are present in each and every one of us, and to honor the balance that we have between us and our communities and in ourselves. This is the Strong Woman song. This is a Cree song, also Anishinaabe, and it shows the power of the strength, the power of the woman, and in it we can feel our strength. Be proud of who we are, be proud of where we come from and who we come from. Our roots and the blood that runs through our veins and connects each and every one of us. Our spirits, because here today we are sisters in spirit. Try not to fall.
announcement. October 5th is the Sisters in Spirit Vigil. It'll be happening at in front of City Hall at 12 noon on, that's a Monday, October 5th. We will be singing there. If you are available, we cordially invite you to attend. It is the 11th annual Memorial March. And the theme is a call to action done for, yes, the TRC 94 recommendations. Rock, man. We want change. Change for us. As treaty people, each and every one of you here is a treaty person. Remember that. Thank you. Hi, hi. Woo. I forgot to explain the march. We're marching from City Hall to Eau Claire. Barclay Square, I believe is what it's called. And they'll be having a rally at the end there and some refreshments. Thank you. Hi.
Thank you again, Sisters from Another Mother. Counselors are here. I just want to let you guys know that counselors are here from Peer Support for Abused Women and Calgary Immigration Women's Association. And they have pennies on. So if you need to speak with one of those women, or if you feel that that you just need to speak with somebody tonight, please, they're wearing the, they're waving over here. So please feel free to talk to one of these women. It's a safe place. And then also the Men's Action Network is serving chili, and that chili is ready to be served. So if you're feeling a little chilly and need some chili, please see them. We also have a donation box on the table, and there's merchandise for sale. If you'd like to help support the next Take Back the Night next year, please see the donation box. Please buy some merchandise. There's pins and there's t-shirts available. So this week, as you all know, Alberta faced a lot of tragedy. And we'd like to make a moment of silence for those 3 people who were senselessly killed this week. For Victoria Justice Crochue, who was pulled out of the Old Man River in Lethbridge, and for Haley Dunbar Blanchette and her father Terry, who were killed in a senseless act. We'd like to remember those people tonight and have a moment of silence for them. At the end of that moment, if you guys would drum us back out, that would be great. So please, let's have a moment of silence for those people.
Also known as the crying song or the wailing song.
Thank you so much. We now welcome to the stage Sandra Manyfeathers.
Hi everyone. I spoke with Steph earlier, who is one of the people on the organizing committee, and I introduced myself as Sandra Manyfeathers. She seemed a little confused as to who I was. I said, I think you might know me by Sandra Crazy Bull. And so I have many names. I have, there's a lot of different, we're the most, as First Nations people, we're the most categorized people. And so I have a lot of different titles, I guess, if you will. So I'll start there. I recently changed my name to Estanskaki Manyfeathers. And the reason I did that was because I was a child and I went to Indian residential school. It was a policy that the First Nations people would attend these schools. And I was one of the people that went to Indian residential school. So while I was there, I was assigned a number. My number was number 19. And that was my identification. I didn't have a name. I had no identity while I was there. So the number 19 is quite significant to me, but I recently obtained a Bachelor of Education degree at U of C. Thank you, and I'm just in the process of obtaining, I'm on my way to, I'm in the Masters of Education program at yeah, that's some of my students over there. Cool. So I wanted to speak a little bit about identity. I wanted to talk a little bit about that because while I was at University of Calgary, one of the things that I realized was that my name was really significant. It was really important to me. Estanskaki, that is a name that my father gave me as a child. My father was a ceremonialist, and both my parents were ceremonialists, and they gifted me with the name Estanskaki, coming singer woman. Now this past June, I was honored because my ceremonial parents, who I've been under, Karen Russell and Keith Chiefmoon, they attended Calgary, a ceremony here in Calgary that was meant for me, and they gifted me with a new name, Inoxsukaki, Buffalo Trail Woman. And so when they gave me that name, I went to my brother and I asked him, who is Inoxsukaki? Because it really sounded familiar. And he said, your dad's grandmother. I was like, wow. So a name is gifted to you when you've accomplished many, many things in your life. And that's the reason they gifted me with the name. They further went on to give me the rights to practice as an elder. So that's one of the ceremonies that I went through this year. My parents' names are Stella Crazy Bull and Mike Steele. My grandparents were Margaret Manyfeathers and Mike Steele Sr. and Lori and Minnie Plume. I also have my maternal grandparents were Jack Eagle Bear and Minnie Mountain Horse. We are Blackfoot First Nations people, and the Blackfoot people lived in this area predominantly for thousands of years. I worked at Glenbow Museum and for a number of years back in the early 2002 to 2008. And one of the things that I found out while I was there was it depends on who you speak to. That's how many years you'll be told that we've been here as First Nations people. We believe that we were here always, that we were created here on this land. We call, according to the Blackfoot people, we call the Nitauxinun. It's not our land, we were gifted to survive here kind of thing. That's what it refers to. So we go as far as the North Saskatchewan River along the Rocky Mountains to the Yellowstone River, and then just right into where present-day Regina, Saskatchewan is today. That's the three Blackfoot tribes are Siksika, Gaina, and Bikani, and I belong to Gaina, the Gaina First Nations tribe. Treaty 7 is a term that came way later. It came about just over 100 years ago. The Siksika, Gaina, Bikani, Sarsi, and Stoney people, they have their own name. Tsitina, I don't want to say it, Nakota. They have their own name to refer to who they are. And that's who Treaty 7 is. Treaty 7 to the Blackfoot people means when we went to treaty, and it literally means peace treaty. So when we as First Nations people think about our treaty with the federal government, with the British Crown, we think peace treaty first, and we don't do that to honor the other side. We actually do that to honor our own people. Our ancestors told us that we went to a peace treaty, and that's what we still live by today. That's when we went to peace treaty. So that only happened just over 100 years ago, but it hasn't been very peaceful. It's been very unsettling this last little while. One of the things that I've discovered as a university student is it's really important to research what you're trying to understand. Knowledge, when you're trying to obtain knowledge, one of the first things you need to do is you need to research it yourself. You don't take it secondhand information. And we've reached a critical point in our historical moment here on Blackfoot territory. One of the things that's really troubling is when you look at social media, or even just in the general media itself, there's a lot of really ignorant people. They don't know what they're arguing for. They actually don't know the truth, but they'll argue with you like they do, and it's unresearched information. One of the things that people hate us the most for is the fact that they think that we get free money. And I'm here to tell you that we don't get free money. The money that we do get from the government is because of the treaty that we went to in 1877. In that treaty, we made an exchange for land, which is 99.99% of the Canadian mass here. So we exchanged for less than 1%. That less than 1% of land that we occupy is Crown land. Now what we do is we have our own natural resources that are on the land. We turn that into revenue, and we turn it over to the federal government. And the Indian Affairs, we pay them to administer, to give us paternalistic services. So we pay them, and the money, it grows annually, it grows. So it's in the amount of $2 trillion, but we have to apply for that money, and it's less than the national average. Other people that are off reserve get way more money than we do. So that's where it starts. If we could have this conversation, if we could start with this conversation, we don't get free money. We're probably less likely to get killed. You know, and there's an imaginary wheel that has been created by society. It doesn't even really exist. But this wheel, on this imaginary wheel, white men are at the very top of you know, how much money they make. They're at the very top. There's a list of other people. It kind of goes down, and at the very bottom is a First Nations person and a woman. So I'm at the very bottom. And so this is just an imaginary wheel that doesn't even really exist. And so we're more likely to get killed than just about any other woman. As a First Nations woman, it's quite dangerous for me to be out at this time of night. And my children, I have 4 sons. One of the things that I heard my son say recently, just within this last year, is, "Mom, when you stay out late, sometimes I think you've been murdered." Literally, my son said that to me, and I couldn't believe it. I just was shocked that he would say that to me. So, and I don't come from a place of, oh, you know, you're just you know, you're just a statistic, you're just a victim. I don't come from that place. I see myself as a survivor. But unfortunately, there's a lot of things that I have to be up here, and I have to be speaking about this. I didn't become an activist just for the sake of being heard, just for the sake of just yelling out obscenity for no reason. In 2000, in the early 2000s, my sister, Ikinatbaki, gentlewoman, Yvonne, Crazy Bull, she was downtown and she was beaten to the point where she didn't recover. She went into a coma, she went to the hospital, and she died of her injuries. The media reports that Yvonne died by a domestic dispute and that her boyfriend, her husband, killed her. but it wasn't her husband, it was somebody else that killed her. She wasn't dating this gentleman, but he killed her, and he went on to go to court, and he only got charged for manslaughter. He ended up not serving any time in jail. And in 2007, Jackie Crazy Bull, my sister, was down here on 8th Street, just down here on 17th Avenue and 11th Street. She was sitting there with my cousin Kirk, and it was in the early hours of during Stampede on July 11th, 2007. She was sitting there and they were sharing a meal when a group of males drove up and they asked her if she could help them. So she went and tried to speak with them, and when she went and talked to them, they stabbed her, and she died right at the site. She died right within a few minutes. The people went on to stab other people, and she didn't know who her killers were. She wasn't associated with them. She didn't know who they were. And so today, 2015, nobody's ever been charged in her murder. There is evidence that the police have. They know who these people are. There is some video surveillance. There's the other people that were stabbed. There's many different variables to this case, but they just haven't charged anybody in Jackie's murder. Just a few months back, Clarissa English, Dakota English, and Kyle Devine were stabbed and killed in Lethbridge. It was a triple homicide that happened in Lethbridge. Kyle was Jackie Crazy Bull, my sister's son, and he came every year for the Justice for Jackie walk, and he walked with us, and he wanted to see a bench named in his mom's honor right at the site, and we still want to try to do that for him, but he was one of the people that was killed just recently. My nephew Dakota was my brother Wes, or John, he's here with me tonight. His son was murdered just recently as well, and you just don't know how this feels until it's happened to you. And I want to state that I want to stand here and I want to honor every single individual that is here tonight. The LGBTQ, I think I have every letter. I hope I do. But I honor you tonight. I'm going to borrow from a statement that my late sister Jackie said. She said, life is sacred, and everything that breathes life is sacred, and you shouldn't kill it. It's just everything is sacred. And I'll borrow from my brother Brent. My brother said that every living person is sacred, no matter what they are. We've just been given these titles: LGBTQ, Indigenous, First Nations, Métis. We have all these different things that separate us, but in the end, we're just all human. We're human beings. And when we share together and we get rid of those imaginary boundaries, they vanish and we become one. And this is what First Nations, this is what Blackfoot people believe, is that we are one. We are one, and it's Tabakapio Creator. So I just want to honor each one of you. I want to thank you for allowing me to come out here to talk. I did have my timer on. I went to 12 minutes instead of 10, so I apologize. But I just want to thank you for allowing me to come out and speak honor to Jackie. We do have a walk on October the 18th. It's a Sunday. We start right at St. Mary's Church, and we go all the way to where Jackie was killed. And we just, nobody else is doing anything about it. If we didn't come out, nobody will be doing anything about it, and she just become another name, another statistic. And it's really difficult to read every day in the media. There's different people that like racist people that are really attack First Nations people, and these are people that are in positions of authority. And it's really sad because they really come from a place of ignorance. They haven't researched their material at all, and they come from a place of hatred and anger and rage on their, and they have things that they need to could work out on their own, but they directed at First Nations people, and these are really people that could make a difference if they were to learn the real information and then to go from there. But they're really unresearched, and I feel sorry for them. I don't even respond to anything that they have to say, but when I'm given a forum like this, I will speak out about the truth, and that's what's going to make a difference for us, is the truth. Thank you.
So Justice for Jackie Walk is October 18th, Sunday at noon. So please attend with Sandra Many Feathers. So I'd like to welcome at this point Floranda Kootenay to the stage.
Humble stage, good day. My name is Floranda Kootenay. I'm originally from the Nakota Nation, also known as Stoney. Today I'm very honored to be here with everybody. I especially enjoyed the march. I haven't yelled and screamed like that forever. For myself, my passion is being with people like myself. I'm a survivor of domestic violence. I'm a product of intergenerational trauma. My grandparents were part of the Indian residential school, and my family have become institutionalized due to the violence. It was back in 1979 where, as a child, my passion started growing to support people that are affected and impacted by domestic violence. It was in 1979. I was a little girl, about 10 years old. It wasn't too far from here. My mother murdered her abuser. From there on, life changed for us. I can speak my first language, Nakota, and my second is English. When my mom was convicted of murder, life changed for us. Some of us, there's 8 of us, some of us went into foster care, and some of us, we ran back to the reserve. I was one of those children that ran back to the reserve. And I'm very grateful to my family, as harsh as it was growing up, because of the violence, that they were there for me. I'm very grateful. And today, I've been asked to come and share knowledge with you about Awudan Healing Lodge. I am a very passionate, compassionate frontline worker at the Awudan Healing Lodge. And when Josie Nipanak, our executive director, asked if I could come and speak tonight and be part of this awareness, I said it is an honor. I want to make sure that my information is correct, so I'm going to read what I have here. Awudan, our history. In 1986, Ruth Skelplot and a group of concerned individuals wanted to create a shelter where Aboriginal women and children could seek refuge from family violence and all forms of abuse in a uniquely Aboriginal atmosphere. The name Awudan was given to Ruth Skelplot by her late mother, Margaret Badboy of the Siksika Nation. In a blanket ceremony, Ruth Skelplot gave the name Awudan to the Calgary Native Women's Shelter and renaming it Awudan Native Women's Shelter Society. On March 10, 1993, an interim shelter was opened in an old apartment building donated by the City of Calgary. 2 short years later, the Awudan Native Women's Shelter Society moved to its current location. That was in 1995, and we're still there today. And what we provide, our vision, nurturing families living in peace. As a child, I always hoped that there would be resources for people like myself, so people can have a safe place to go, women and children. And I used to think, if there was a place where we could have went, did somebody have to die? If we had a place where we can go tell people the violence that was going on, did people have to get hurt? Did people have to be torn apart because of violence? And our mission, to provide community services guided by the Native traditional teachings to anyone affected by family violence and abuse. Our doors of Otan Healing Lodge are open to all people, regardless of your race, creed, color. We open our doors to everyone. And our teachings are based on the Aboriginal framework, guided by the 7 sacred teachings. Our programs, I wish I could have brought information, but I'm so happy to say that we have the Parent Link Center now located in Forest Lawn. And that's very new information. I was very proud, and I said, I made it back to the hood. The services we have a 30-bed emergency shelter with Aboriginal supports, cultural supports. We have, I think there's about 15 languages, and Nakota is one of them. And child support, my passion, I would support children, and you don't have to pay me. Family outreach, the family violence prevention, and again, our Parent Link Center has relocated in Forest Lawn. The Peace program, the Pediatric and Wellness Clinic, Youth and Family Support Program. And to close, for myself, my heart, my emotions are still very raw. My niece, she accessed Dawutan. It's been about definitely 6 years. She came to us, and I remember she was talking with me, and for us, it's not confidential anymore because my niece was murdered. She came to our shelter. She was fleeing an abusive situation, and she told us she's gonna be safe. And she left the shelter. We couldn't find her. And soon, she was reported missing. And by March, almost 2 months later, her body was discovered. And still to this day, my niece Tawny Left Hand is a cold case file. We still don't know who murdered her. And I hope that there will be inquiries into the murdered and missing Indigenous women.
Thank you so much for your story, Florenda. At this time, we would like to welcome Roberta Baptiste to the stage.
Good evening, Danse. I'm very honored to be here at Take Back the Night. Thank you for having me, and thanks for coming out and listening to us women. We need to be in a world where every woman and girl has rights that are fully protected, and we have potential as females, and we have a lot to offer, and we deserve to be respected. And safety is an issue. Safety toward women that needs to be addressed. I am Aboriginal. I am Korean Sutena. I'm from Musqueam, Hobima, and I have witnessed a lot in my life, and I hope and pray that Aboriginal women will be someday safe and protected and honored as women too. We need to speak out against all forms of discrimination and violence against all women. And my culture, my native culture, is not a costume. I feel offended when I see Halloween costumes of Aboriginal feathers, and I don't believe it's right. I have an issue to address that is very offensive to me and very sacred to me, and that is my Aboriginal culture. And all women of all race need to be respected. In this day and age, we need equality. In the workforce as well, we need to feel safe. I started a job, and I don't know if this male thought that my friendliness was seen as flirtatious, but he kept following me, and I felt very uneasy about it. And I didn't think he had the right to follow me while I was at work, and he made me feel very uncomfortable. And I felt I had to speak up about this. I don't think it's right, because we as women need to be safe, and we need to feel equal, even in equality of pay. We need that. There's a lot of violence against women and men who dress as women, and there is injustice against women. We have potential in this world, and I, as a Native woman, I have a daughter, and I hope and pray that she is not harassed at work, and that she will be paid as equal as a male. And I believe that we women can be leaders as well. I thank you, and I'm honored to speak tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Roberta. I now welcome to the stage Cecilia Miguel, Women Together Ending Poverty.
Thank you. My name is Cecilia Miguel. I am an immigrant woman, a mother, and I am very honored to be here today, bringing a message of solidarity from our women's collective. Women Together Ending Poverty has been organizing in Calgary since 2008, and we have been together trying to understand from different perspectives the root causes of poverty. I have a message that our collective tailored for me to read tonight, and that it says like this. We live in Calgary, Alberta. This city belongs to the province where poverty has a female face. Alberta is the place where thousands of women live exclusively to work. No vacations, no family time, only work. We are here today to create individual and community awareness about gender-based violence. Women Together Ending Poverty wants to denounce the systemic violence committed against the working women whose lives are limited by the imposition of a minimum wage that creates vulnerability, codependency, and misery. No woman should be killed because of staying in a violent relationship due to lacking economic independence. There are systemic measurements condemning some women to remain poor all of their lives. 60% of minimum wages in the province of Alberta are women. The minimum wage has been approved to be $11.20 by hour by October 2015, with the promise to be increased to $15 by 2018. In 2011, Women Together Ending Poverty gathered 900 signatures for a petition calling for the minimum wage to be raised to a living wage, $14 an hour without benefits at the time, and for Alberta Works and Age benefits to be increased in accordance with the living wage. We said that these measures would be one small step in addressing the economic disparity that exists in Alberta, where 60% of the 9,000 Calgarians were women working for less than a living wage. We don't think that women can wait for too long. 3 years is too long for an income increase that should have happened 4 years ago. The longer that women have to wait, the more vulnerable they become, the more compromised their mental health is, and at this very moment, many women face with life-threatening situations dealing with violent partners due to lack of financial independence. Emergency shelters are not the ultimate solution for the women who are fleeing death threats. Instead, we need to address root causes of poverty, and in the meantime, recognize that access to supports and benefits that provide wellness and dignity is a human right. We women should be treated equally, but the reality is that the job market, we are not offered the same opportunities as men are. Women have fewer opportunities for advancement in their jobs, as it is not taken into account how the external conditions affect them in the workplace. Women living in low incomes are responsible for providing childcare and providing for needs of their children. For example, when our kids are sick, which can take us away from the job, it prevents us to be considered for raises and job advancement. Women who are minimum wagers are very often single mothers, have to work 80 hours a week between part-time jobs to guarantee paid rent, utilities, transportation, and food for the whole family. They don't have the time to provide proper care to the kids or even to sit with them to have dinner because work is so exhausting. In July 2015, MP John Crockett, and I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing the last name correctly, a conservative MP John Crockett commented on a public media about the Alberta gender wage gap. She said that women, we are choosing professions that aren't as high paying jobs, and that was our choice, and that was understandable. That if we women wanted higher paying jobs, those jobs are out there waiting for us. WTEP responded that she failed to recognize the fact that no matter what job you do, you don't earn as much as men. Statistics Canada shows that women earn 65 cents per every dollar earned by men. In addition, Calgary and Edmonton are among the 3 cities where gap between women and men are the largest in Canada. Even in 2015, the burden of childcare and housework mainly falls on the shoulders of women, which make career advancement, non-traditional jobs, and non-traditional hours virtually impossible due to the lack of childcare availability and its high cost. Skilled trade jobs offer demand hours and location which are difficult when caring for families. Additionally, this society is too patriarchal. Women who chose non-traditional jobs makes it difficult to survive and thrive in those environments. Sexual harassment, racism, and bullying are in everyday practice in the workplace in a context of impunity. Higher paying jobs are closely linked to gender, as jobs in science, technology, and skilled trade work. It's chilly tonight, oh my gosh. Those fields are traditionally male-dominated fields. Today, women still account for the vast majority of waitresses, retail workers, admin assistants. Women also tend to work in service jobs and nonprofit and public sector organizations. Gender discrimination is at the heart of the wage gap. Fields that are female-dominated are considered socially less valuable. That is sexism. Society needs to recognize the value of female-dominated professions. Women Together Ending Poverty thinks that the different level of government fail to women with the lack of support policies that will increase the earning ability of women. Another factor that is intimately linked with low-income issues is the lack of affordable housing as a result of adopting neoliberal agenda, which included spending cuts to social infrastructure. Governments in Canada have set aside their responsibilities to ensure adequate housing for many Canadians. Our governments are ignoring the issue. They do not have the political will to address housing in Canada. Instead, they have left the supply of housing up to the market, and we WTEP say in Canada, realty is a reality. We think that it is the responsibility for the government to take care of every Canadian and make sure that we all are able to keep a roof on our heads. I was going to say, do you have any questions? But this is not a workshop, right? We at WTEP, we think that charity is not the solution. We want to work to create an economic system where men and women have the same opportunities of development. We mean to have equal access to education, housing, healthcare, job security. We want to live in a society where raising the future generations is not seen as an exclusive female responsibility. We want to have a society where our governments put people before profits. That would be the only place that is truly safer for women to live. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cecilia. Now I'd like to welcome to the stage Steph Bolanantes. She's right here. Yes, Steph!
I'm right here.
Woo!
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to Take Back the Night. I am Stephanie Bolianets, or Stefani Bolianec. It's a Roma name, okay. I would like to start tonight by thanking the strong, beautiful women who spoke before me. Thank you, Tiara, for being the MC. Thank you, Sandra, Florenda, Roberta, and Celia. I would like to express my gratitude to be living and pursuing justice and care on these lands. Finally, I would like to thank everyone who has come to Take Back the Night, because this is awesome. I would like to share with you tonight what I have experienced and learned as a woman who is Calderach, Roma, and Northern Irish Catholic. I'm visibly and invisibly disabled, and I'm poor. I live in Forest Lawn, and I am stoked for a Watan to be there. It's excellent. In other words, I'm going to speak about intersectionality, which is defined by the Association for Women's Rights in Development as a method of analysis that can help us understand our own and one another's substantively distinct experiences. We do this to reveal meaningful distinctions and similarities in order to overcome discriminations and put the conditions in place for all people to fully enjoy their human rights. Maternally, I am Calderach Roma and come from a collectivist and matrifocal culture and family. This means that women are looked to for the wisdom to adapt culture to surrounding society for survival purposes, and also to change culture for the good of the group. In many ethnicities around the world, women are respected as the transmitters of culture, and this is true in Calderach Roma culture. Also in many indigenous cultures, people that are indigenous to this land. That's right. I have no relationship with my father. He was my first abuser. My earliest memories of my father are of violence. Unfortunately, his father was abusive, contributing to each of his sons' use of violence as men. Like many people here tonight, my parents' divorce saved me from daily physical violence and from bearing further witness to my father abusing my mom, but their divorce did not save us from poverty. Poverty complicates our experiences with violence. Poverty can make it very hard to leave domestic violence, and it can make it very hard to heal from violence. I believe that Canada is a caste-based society. All governments know that poverty is harmful to our entire selves, yet poor people are blamed for our health and our relationships. In particular, when it comes to women, what were you wearing? Nope. Being poor since early childhood, while Roma has meant more violence. Some recent headlines work to paint a picture of Roma people in Canada. The first one is by the National Post on October 12, 2012, How Europe's Roma Problem Became Ours. The second one is the Globe. Ottawa's crackdown on Roma refugees has Hungarians seeking asylum elsewhere. Notice there how they label Roma as Hungarians instead of addressing the actual reality. Next one is again from Global. Canada pays thousands of Roma to abandon refugee appeals and leave the country. And the final one is my favorite. Why are so many gypsies killing themselves? And that was by Vice on January 9th, 2013. So there is the word most commonly used in mainstream society to describe my ethnicity, gypsy. I can go buy a Halloween costume this year. Thank you, Roberta, for talking about that. That encourages discrimination and erasure of myself, my family, and our people. I can listen to mainstream culture and work hard to pass as white so that I'm not harmed for who I am. Or I can stand here tonight and talk about how misogyny and ethnocentrism and racism and ableism intersect and how we can stop this violence together. As women, people with non-binary gender identities, two-spirited peoples, and allies, we can disrupt this culture. We can talk about where we are indigenous to, and we can talk about colonialism here and all over the world. We can talk about who we are and how our identities intersect. We can talk about our cultural practices and protocols and use them to change those that are harmful. We can bear witness to each other's stories, and we can learn together, which for me is what Take Back the Night is about. We can have each other's backs, and we can make mistakes. We are here protesting together against relational and systemic violence. We are learning about and celebrating difference as strength. We are surviving because we are survivors, and we are stronger together. Violence is intergenerational. It is learned, it is self-serving, and it is wrong. Let us continue to disrupt mainstream cultural protocols that support and perpetuate violence. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Steph. So our last and final speaker is going to be Stasha. So please welcome her up.
Last speaker. You heard that, right? I was going to explain a little bit about our decision process with having 4 marches and inviting people of all genders to participate in what is a shared community issue, but you're here, so I'm not going to do that. Feminist Organizing in Calgary is on Facebook if you want to read all the meeting minutes from the past year.